The opinions expressed here are exclusively those of CG Sense. No brand affiliations, free products, or affiliate marketing are associated with this video.
So for a week, I put on 4 sprays of Gris Charnel Extrait, 2 to the chest, 1 to each wrist. It's worth noting that these atomizers are pressurized. They're actually pretty nice, and they distribute a good amount of fragrance. So 4 sprays is a pretty good amount here. I actually really enjoyed this fragrance. I put a lot of thought into this review. I had a honeymoon stage with this one where I just thought this was one of the greatest things ever. One of the best things that I reviewed in a long time. But spending time with it, my emotions and feelings got a bit more balanced. And I ultimately decided that, yes, this is a really great fragrance, but it's not like a Grail fragrance for me. It's not a top 20 of all time fragrance, but it really sits high up there. Like overall, I would rate this a 9 out of 10. So I'm going to let you guys know like the process I went through with this, why I think it's amazing, what holds me back from being fully invested in it, and all of that in this review. And one of the ways I put the most thought into this fragrance is describing the scent of it. That was something that I just felt like I had to do. And it's not necessarily like I wanted to paint a super accurate picture and get you guys to smell it through the YouTube video. Like, that's impossible. It wasn't that I wanted to be so detailed. It was much more like I don't have anything that smells like it. It feels like there's a lot of parts going on to this and to describing it. And it just felt like a dog chewing on the bone mentally. Like I just kept gnawing at trying to describe what this is. So let's jump into it. The opening, when you first spray this fragrance before the alcohol evaporates, I'm not a fan of this stage of the fragrance. Very few fragrances do this to me, but this one actually made me like pucker my face a bit where I was like, oh, it's like too much. And even now, like just smelling the atomizer, like where the alcohol is, I don't like that initial spray. And anytime I showed this to people and I sprayed it on paper, I would have to really let it air out for a while before I feel like they were actually getting the scent of Gris Charnel Extrait, because it's one of those ones that the alcohol needs to evaporate and the fragrance needs to sit for a couple minutes before you really get a more accurate picture of what this scent is. So before the alcohol evaporates in that initial opening of Gris Charnel, like what I get that I don't like is bitterness. Almost like if you were to sip like black coffee and you didn't acquire a taste for black coffee and it wasn't your thing, you would get kind of like too bitter, something that just like turns you off to it. That's exactly how I describe the opening of this on an emotional level. It just smells bitter. It's not something that's overly spicy or overly minty or overly foresty or too dark. It's bitter. It's just bitter, and it honestly smells a bit off. Maybe like a bunch of bitterness and a little bit of smoke. And I'm like, oh, no. But let's get into the dry down. The first hour of this fragrance, which honestly is my favorite part of the scent. What changes after a couple minutes, you'll notice this kind of almost minty, foresty things start kicking in. Now, I feel hesitant saying mint because it's not really mint. It's almost got this minty quality, like of being a fresh pine forest with a smooth, nice dose of almost this mintiness. But let's not go into, this is nothing like Leighton, nothing like Creed Viking. There's nothing mentholy about it. The mint isn't really like peppermint candy mint. It's almost like if you think of a pine forest or like pine needles and you smell them and you say they almost have like a minty quality to them, punch up that almost minty quality a little bit to give it a bit more of this minty kind of feel. That starts kicking in. And the other thing that simultaneously starts kicking in is the vanillic undertones, this creamy vanilla smell. What's interesting about this creamy vanillic undertone, it's in a really good dose. It's very light and airy, but it also can kind of be interpreted as coconut. That's one of those things. I've shown this fragrance to quite a few people, and some of them instantly coconut. Like I instantly get the coconut. Some of them don't smell the coconut at all. I even had some people, I was like, do you get anything coconut from it? And they say, no, not at all. Me, I'm kind of in the middle of that, in the sense that when I first smelled it, I didn't get coconut at all until somebody said something. And then when they did, it was like one of those things. Once I saw it, I can't unsee it. And the lightness of the creaminess with the vanillic and the coconut all kind of comes together to form something that puts my brain in a state of thinking of coconut sunscreen. I don't want to turn you guys off because this doesn't smell cheap to me. It smells expensive, very well done. But yeah, if you think of like the freshness of coconut sunscreen and how it's light and airy and how it almost has a creamy quality, that's kind of what starts creeping in from the base for me. And then in the center is that bitterness I talked about. And the best way I could describe that bitterness would be black coffee. It's not the best way to describe it, but it's the best way I'm able to describe it. Because it's from nature and it's foresty, but it's very bitter. And when you think of like Terre d'Hermes and like Dirty Vetivers, it's definitely not something like that. It has a much more bitter quality, light quality. Like if you think of that Dirty Vetiver and you think of black coffee and how they both kind of have this earthy component to them, this one leans way more to the black coffee for me, more of that bitter nature smell. I imagine that's the tea accord in this. And if you think about tea, if you don't add any sweeteners to it and you're just having the raw leaf, how some teas can just be bitter. I get that sandwich between this almost minty top and this creamy coconutty vanillic base. One thing worth noting here is that creamy coconut vanillic base does kind of ride over everything and smooth everything out. So even though it's in the base, it's not isolated to the base. It almost like really encompasses the entire fragrance and makes it way more smooth and palatable. I've put a lot of thought into this, and it's almost like a chaser. So it's almost like you're getting the bitterness of that middle and you're getting the mintiness of that top, and it would be too much to handle, but that vanillic almost follows it and makes it more easy to digest, as if you're taking in something bitter but then following it with something semi-sweet to smooth it out. And that's one of the things I really love about this fragrance, like the chaser quality of it, how you're getting these different parts, how it's giving you something that normally would be really hard to digest, but it's helping you take it in. I think it's just a beautiful smell in that first hour. So in layman terms, how would I describe that first hour of this fragrance as simple as possible? I get as if you had like really dark black coffee and you put in almost a peppermint coconut creamer to it, like in most simple terms I could possibly give you. And that's to describe how it smells and also the quality of it. Almost there's a comforting quality to it. Like if you think of like hot coffee on a cold day outside. So there's an emotional way I could relate that experience, but also in just the scent overall. Now it's important to be clear here. This black coffee with the peppermint coconut creamer, it doesn't have a whole lot of creamer in it, just the right amount to where you're capturing the bitterness of the coffee and this sweetener is just making the bitterness of the coffee easier to take in. So it's not like a blob of sweetness. It's not like you took coffee and you poured a bunch of creamer in it and you're really getting mostly creamer with a little bit of coffee in the background. It's almost like this really beautiful blend and balance between the two, where you're getting that bitterness and nature quality of the coffee, and you're also having like the creamer really just helping you take that in, and it's almost like blended in perfect parts. That's how I describe the first hour of Gris Charnel Extrait. Now, this fragrance lasts a really long time, and it's pretty linear. There's not a whole lot of transitions. It pretty much has this almost gradient transition, and it starts at an hour, and it goes between 1 to 8 hours is when it's starting to transfer more into a chai tea. I've heard people say this smells like chai tea. In the first hour, I just don't agree with that because I feel like it's way more bitter and way more, I don't know, it's just bitter, darker. It has more separate parts than chai tea. Like chai tea that I've had, it kind of is like a one taste thing. It feels much more like a mixed drink that was mixed in equal parts, and it has this bitter, earthy quality that I would associate more with coffee in that first hour. But between 1 to 8 hours is when it almost starts blending all together and becoming smoother and reminding me a bit more of chai tea. And that's just a real layman's way to describe the smell. I'm almost positive that if you smell this and take a sip of chai tea, they're different. But really capturing that emotional experience and what the scent turns into, I think that's a really good way to describe it. And it's gradual. So at an hour, what I notice is the coconut kind of quality starts dissipating a lot. The vanilla starts taking in a bit more. And the bitterness of the first hour starts to dial back. So it kind of becomes more minty, more vanilla. And it becomes more smooth and blended together. Now, at an hour, it's not like there's some steep drop off where it just stops becoming bitter and stops with the coconut thing. It's more like The hour marks the point where it starts transitioning into that slowly over the course of 8 hours. So it's almost like at hour 4, it's a bit more of that. At hour 6, it's a bit more this creamy chai tea thing. And then at hour 8, that's when I feel like it's done its time. It's transitioned into this vanillic scent. So between 8 and 10 hours, that's when I get more of like a vanillic scent with a bit of almost foresty mintiness to it, but very little. It's mostly just vanilla. This scent lasts a very long time, past the 10-hour mark, but I know at 10 hours, that's when I'm smelling my skin and thinking this kind of just smells like vanilla skin scent, and it just carries on for almost what feels like forever. Hopefully I did a decent job with that scent description. I'm not trying to complicate it too much, but I believe simple is best, but at the same time, I put a lot of thought into how this smells because it's very unique. When I look at my collection, it's very hard to think of I have something to relate it to that I've already smelled, but to really simplify this down and boil it down, on the opening, it's just bitter, and I don't like it. After a couple minutes, and almost that bitter black coffee smell starts mixing really well with like a coconut mint creamer. And then it starts transitioning into almost like a chai tea smell, becoming more of a mixed vanillic thing with a bit of mintiness. Overall, I'm really happy with the performance of this. In the first hour, it definitely pushes out a ton. People around me let me know they smell it, that it's like a room filler. And then after an hour, the sillage gets more close to the skin for about 10 hours, but it's still pushing out a good amount and creating a really nice scent bubble. This stuff just lasts forever. Really happy with the performance. I said it doesn't smell like anything else that I tried, and I might catch heat for this because I want you guys to know up front, I'm not saying that these two smell the same at all, okay? And I definitely prefer Gris Charnel over Fan Your Flames. But I can't help but think there is some way to relate it. Almost like that sunscreen fresh coconutty thing I talked about in the woods in this. I also get in Gris Charnel. So almost that bitter, woody kind of thing. So yeah, Fan Your Flames is the only one I think I could relate to this. But this one's totally different. Not just in scent, but also in the overall feeling and vibe. And it's really like nothing else I've tried, and it really fits this almost Zen fragrance category. Really just kind of stirs up emotions of going into like a sauna with mint rocks and that relaxing kind of feeling. And it's just one of those scents that as I smelt it, I felt this really calming quality to it and really Zen, relaxed, put together feel. And it does have a somewhat more serious leaning vibe. I'm not going to say it's a serious fragrance, but you know how there's a spectrum between a playful fragrance, fun in the sun, and a super serious fragrance. This one's kind of in the middle, but I would say it leans a little bit serious. In other words, I can imagine a man in a suit wearing this. It has a formal, classic quality to the overall scent and feeling of it. Now, as far as my overall feelings on this fragrance, I think it's absolutely great. I think it's wonderful. It's one of the things that I've been reviewing fragrances for a while, and it's engaged me a lot. And a lot of fragrances don't engage me as much as this one has. And it sent me on kind of like an emotional roller coaster. Because at first I thought, wow, this is like one of the greatest things ever, because it has that fall scent. And I could see where somebody could think it's a Christmas scent, but it really isn't a Christmas scent. And my issue with Christmas scents is they get a bit redundant. There's like a thing I call like a fuzzy sweater fragrance. Vanillas and Christmas scents kind of feel redundant. And this, it's a little vanilla, it's a little Christmas, but it's not a vanilla fragrance. It's not a Christmas fragrance, but it really has that kind of quality of really fitting in the fall. So I really liked it for that. That was one of the things off the bat. It's almost like, it almost feels like a fall fragrance for like a Buddhist monk kind of thing going on to it. And it felt like it was in this unique category of not being redundant at all. So it super engaged me and I was super into it. And like, man, this is the greatest thing ever. I love this stuff. Like the first couple days of wearing this, I was in that honeymoon stage with it where I was like, damn, like I found one that actually is special. That's wonderful. That's great. That's mass appealing, has good performance. That's like nothing else out there. Has this really soothing, calming quality. Really kind of gets me close to nature, but is also a fall scent. So I was just kind of over the moon for the first couple days. And then at some point, there was just this transition of, it's natural. I'm not going to say I became bored of it. It's natural to become bored of fragrances over time. That's one of the reasons I test things extensively. Because before I invest in a 100 milliliter bottle, which is like 200 wears, I need to know how I feel about something after 7 wears. You know what I'm saying? And it's not that I got bored of it. It's just I got more used to it. I got more used to the scent, going about my daily life with it. And it became more of what I perceived as a crowd pleaser, mass appealing, easy to wear, dumb reach style scent, because it's not something that's really challenging. I feel like this is something that's pretty easy to like. It's not something that has a funk or something stinky about it. Typically, the fragrances that I get less bored with have some kind of challenge to them. Like maybe the first couple days I really didn't like it, but then I learned to appreciate it, and now I can't live without it. So there's like this evolution of going from this is confusing to I love this stuff. This stuff, it went from I love this stuff to more like I really, really, really like it. But it wasn't like my peak moment with this was the first couple days of wearing for sure. And then as time went on, it was like I really enjoy wearing it, but I'm not super excited to wear it. So like that's pretty much how my thoughts and feelings towards this fragrance developed. I actually think it's a really good value for what it is, considering you get 100 milliliters. And even the retail price, I think it's around $300. A lot of brands are charging $500, $600, $400. I think the price is pretty reasonable. And I think the presentation is pretty nice. Like the cap is pretty weighted, the pressurized atomizer, and just the overall look and feel of it. Like especially on a shelf with other things. Like I feel like this fragrance looks unique and it stands out on a shelf for me. I don't have anything from BDK. They're a big miss brand for me. I don't really like a lot of stuff from them. A lot of their stuff just feels pretty uninspired for me. So it was nice having a BDK sitting on the shelf. And this looks almost like a German, I know it's French, but it looks like a German engineered bottle. It looks pretty cool, especially in person. I feel like it's one of those ones that looks better in person than it does in photos, and like holding it and feeling how weighted it is. So the overall experience of wearing this was pretty fantastic for me, and I really do appreciate and enjoy this fragrance. But I spent a lot of time thinking, why is this not a top 25? Why is this not a 10? What is it? Like, what is it that's not fully winning me over? And I think it goes back to what I said about the mass appeal thing. Like, I love mass appealing fragrances. I have a good amount of them. And honestly, I wear them more than I wear my challenging stuff. And a lot of the reason I wear fragrance is to smell good to people around me. That's like a huge thing. Of course, I wear fragrances for myself, to be challenged, to have unique vibes, or just wear something stinky for the fun of it, something crazy like a zoologist. But this fits that mass appeal category. And I feel like I'm finding it late into the game where I already kind of have all my mass appealing fragrances lined up. And it's almost like I'm not totally sold on this simply because I already have things that fill the same need that this one would fill. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense to people out there where you're just kind of like, okay, I already have my Laytons. I already have my Halfetis. I already have like these mass appealing, easy to like niche fragrances, even like Altar and what else? And I have this sitting here, Genius Ginger. So by the time I got to this, it was like, yeah, it's great. I really like it, but it doesn't serve like a unique purpose for me. And this is all psychology. This is just my personal psychology that I'm sharing with you guys. And the other thing is the vibe. I'm not totally sold on it. Yes, it has this calming Zen vibe. It's very unique in that sense. So it's not like the other mass appealing fragrances. It has its own character, but I'm not totally sold on the vibe. And the best way I could describe it is it gives me a bit of a Yankee Candle vibe. Almost like that's it. Like it's almost like a smell that I smell it. I'm like, wow, this smells amazing. This is so soothing. It's so calming. But it also feels like I'm detached from it. Almost as if you were to smell a candle and say, wow, this is amazing. Like, I want my house to smell like this. But then if somebody asks you to wear it, would you want to wear it? You'd probably say yes, but you'd be a little bit like, I never had a moment where I was wearing Gris Charnel Extrait where I was like, ooh, I want to smell like this 100%. Like this boosts my confidence. This matches who I am. This is what I want to smell like as a man. And a lot of the things in my top 25, like a lot of the Rosias or like Creed Royal Oud or Green Irish Tweed, things that I really love, I just had a moment where I was like, this is me. This is how I want to smell to the world. I never had that really kick in with Gris Charnel. So I never had that personal connection to the scent profile as much as I have with what I consider to be my tins. But that's all subjective. That's all purely psychology. This is one totally worth sampling in my opinion. And I'm going to do a quick shout out here. Like, I really try not to listen to other reviewers when I'm reviewing a fragrance because I like to be in a bubble. Like, I don't really want to read a bunch of Fragrantica reviews, watch a bunch of videos, and allow other people's opinions to influence mine. I feel like that's the best way for me to produce truly original content is to stay away from it. That being said, lately I've been falling short in listening to some reviews. And one of the reviews I listened to was Seldomly Often's review on Gris Charnel Extrait. He's a great YouTuber. He's a good friend of mine. Very honest guy, very experienced. And he has a I'm not going to say very, but he has a negative review on Gris Charnel Extrait. And I know he's honest and coming from a good place. And he's the guy. He's one of the guys. So I'm going to link to that because I think it's really important. If you hear this and you say, wow, what a positive review. I think it's important that if you're interested in trying this or purchasing it, you also hear a negative review. And I think that you can find the balance is probably in between the two. But him, I remember watching his review and just not having the same experience at all on any of it. Even the presentation, he was saying looks cheap, and I was actually noting how nice this looks in hand. Or like he said he wasn't getting sillage, and this is one of those fragrances that's like really strong for me, and I get a lot of sillage from it, a good amount at least. So I'm going to link to that in the description of this video so that you can make a more informed decision. But overall, I think if nothing I said turned you off to this, it's definitely one worth sampling in my opinion and making your own conclusion. Because at the end of the day, the only thing you could trust is your own nose. Us fragrance people on YouTube are just like having fun with it. At least that's what I'm doing. Having fun, talking about something I'm passionate about, sharing that with you guys. I'm not here to give buying advice or let you guys know what to get, what not to get. At the end of the day, you can only trust your own nose and look through the comments on this video and read through those and see people's opinions on this one. But the reason I ultimately would say this is one worth sampling is it's really like nothing else out there directly. I mean, it kind of has bits and pieces. Like it kind of reminds me of Fan Your Flames, but it also kind of reminds me of the more zen fragrances, things like Matcha 26. So it kind of has this interesting character that fuses that coconut creamy quality with like a zen, almost Buddhist monk quality. And because it's so unique and I get decent performance out of it, and I don't think it's super overpriced, I think it's one that's definitely worth trying and something I'd recommend someone to try, especially if they're into classy fragrances, someone more mature, 30s and up, someone who likes the Green Irish Tweeds, the Gentle Fluidity Silvers, the Dior Home Intenses of the world, likes that classy, grown feel. Those are the types of people I would probably turn on to this one. And if they were hanging out with me, this is one I would show them up front, especially also people that like nature smells. Pine forest smells, people into pine wood fragrances. Those types of people are the ones that I would spray this on a card as one of the first ones and hand it to them. So yeah, that's my overall take on Gris Charnel Extrait. So I mentioned the overall vibe in this, but with the music and the visuals, I just want to re-emphasize it. It does give me the zen quality. It makes me think of minty rocks in a sauna, where you're going to a place simply to relax and rejuvenate. So to me, it takes me to that place of going into a hot rock sauna where they have those mints kind of going and it's clearing up my sinuses. I'm clearing out my pores. I come out there and have that really nice feeling you have when you exit a sauna. but I feel a little chilly, and I sit down and have a really nice hot chai tea. That quality, that really zen-like quality, almost makes me think of those stores that sell like Eastern inspired jewelry and stuff, like Earthbound in the mall and stores like that. It almost has that hipster quality, but not totally. It almost also has this grown, classy man in a business suit quality going on to it. The vibe of Gris Charnel Extrait to me is unique. It's captivating. I absolutely love it. It's very calming, very grown, very put together. Has this classy feel to it. And overall, that was just one of the things about this fragrance that really got me. It was just the overall feeling of it. And I think this is like, I always think of like a foggy day whenever I was smelling this, like a nice, calm, the weather is perfect, like 68 degrees, it's foggy, I'm hiking in the woods kind of feeling. And I think the fog just comes from that whole relation to like, almost like it makes me think of Eastern Buddhist monk kind of stuff. It makes me think of the saunas. And it just gives me this foggy, overcast day where it's kind of dark, but it's still light, and there's nature, and I'm taking in the smell of the pine trees, walking through the forest. It just really gave me that almost close to nature sort of vibe as well.
Is it recording?
Yes.
I check myself out, make sure everything's good. All right, cool. So let's see. We have BDK Parfum Gris Charnel Extrait. That's really interesting because I happen to own another fragrance that is called Gris, but it's Dior. So I don't know. It's kind of like who copied who moment. So that's my actual first impression. Oh, here it is. Gris Dior. If you know, you know. Get it for your girl. All right. So Gris Charnel Extrait. This is what I've been smelling all day. My baby, which was cared for all day by my husband, smells like this. Interesting. So that lets you know it's really sticky. Because I gave him that baby at 6:30 in the morning. And I got her back at almost 5 p.m. And she still smelled like that. Okay? All right. So to me, it's something like a vanilla root beer thing happening. It's really nice and light and sweet. This is a sweet fragrance that does not scream femininity. It's like a masculine take on a sweet fragrance. For some forsaken reason, it makes me think of Ariana Grande Cloud, but less girly. That being said, I think a woman could use this. Why not? For real, now that I really think about it, this is a lot like Ariana Grande Cloud. Am I smelling coconut? Is that what I smell? Perhaps. I think this is more suitable for somebody who is in the younger side, in my opinion. Maybe in their mid-30s and up. And I think this is perfect for something outdoor, summer, spring. In my mind, that's what I get. I don't know. It may be my tropical background.
You get the coconut?
I do get the coconut. And if you side to side it with Ariana Grande Cloud, they're cousins. Do you want me to rate it?
I'm looking for your cloud. You don't have it?
I do have it. It's somewhere there. Do you want me to find it?
On the celebrity shelf?
Yeah, probably.
No.
Or on the first shelf. It's on the first shelf. On the top one. It's baby blue and it has a cloud on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Baby,
Let's
hold
make
on,
sure.
sweetie.
I want to make sure. Yeah. I'll be surprised if these are similar at all. Here.
Okay, so this is Cloud. Yeah.
Really?
I mean, they're not twins or nothing. But they're definitely cousins. This is the girl cousin, this is the boy
Let me
cousin. It's in that same vein.
I can see where you're coming from.
To me,
Like categorically.
it's in the same family.
Family, but not the same.
That's why I said they cousins. They're not twins or siblings. They're cousins.
The baby wants to try them.
Come bring that baby over here. Come bring her over here. She wanna be in the video, y'all. Give me. I was trying to put. She was playing right there on her little area, but she really wants to be in the video, so we're here.
All right. So what would you rate it?
For a man, which is what we're talking about, I would rate it a 6. Like, why a 6? Because it's above average, because you can smell the quality of it, and you can smell like this is something else, like this is a fancier thing. But at the same time, to me personally, it doesn't scream masculinity. It's very ambiguous, and also, I don't know, I feel like it could pass as a women's fragrance. So for that reason, I give it a 6.
All right. Give me the baby.
But she wants to say hi to the camera.
Do the next one.
Dindy, look! She's not looking.